We've got Nick in Oklahoma. You're on with Don and Matt. How are you?
I'm well. How are you, Don and Matt?
Good.
Not too bad.
What's up?
Well, hey, if it's okay, real quick, I wanted to touch on what the previous caller was saying.
No, we don't allow
had
that.
a long period. Sorry?
We don't allow that. I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Well, what I wanted to say real quick is that I struggled with indoctrination for a long time, especially a fear of hell. And I basically had an epiphany one day where I realized this is something I don't really believe in, so why the hell am I getting caught up in it?
Yeah.
And
mine was, why am I spending all this time worrying about the hell that I was taught about as a kid and not all these others?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And see, I dug into mythology very heavily when I was a teenager, when I was questioning Christianity. And I started to see all these things that people believe for different reasons, and I realized they believe this just as heavily and as full-heartedly as people do now with Christianity or other religions that currently exist. And so I just kind of compared it to, and I'm like, wow, I'm no longer afraid of hell, and it's helped with my happiness tenfold over the years.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I think most people can actually get there once they dive in and start saying, okay, I'm going to at least start by facing the truth about my fears and where's this coming from, and what reason do I have to accept it, and what other fears? Why am I worried about this one instead of these others, when at least they seem similarly plausible? But
yeah, and it's just like I'm not afraid of ghosts, or I don't think astrology determines personality or who you are as a person. So, I'm not going to, it's like I'm not going to read a fortune cookie and it says something and I'm worried about what the outcome is going to be. So you have to compare these things to move forward.
Astrology can be debunked with one word, and yet there's still horoscopes in every newspaper. That word, by the way, is twins.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, let me digress real quick back to the original topic I was calling about. Sure. So I've been a relatively active member of the atheist community for a better part of 10 plus years. I've been watching the Atheist Experience for about the same amount of time, maybe since about 08 or 09. And I was a part of a secular group at university. And the group, as well as myself, actually spearheaded Seth coming out to do a talk at OSU back in maybe 11 or 12. And after I got back home, moved back to my city, I basically took over an atheist group that we had in my city. And it was always a small group. We never had more than maybe 10 active members at a time. And slowly people started to move away and things like this. And I had kind of realized that, this is something I'm still passionate about now, but I had come to the realization that I'm plateauing with my atheist activism. And seeing you two, for example, also Aaron and Seth doing it for so many years, I was wondering, how do you keep it up? And what would you say is the biggest things that help keep you engaged and want to be active in the community?
So I've been hosting this show for almost 15 years. Don's actually done it longer than that.
A little bit longer, yeah.
When I first got involved, the group was, moderate sized and small and on public access. And I started doing all kinds of stuff, and people would come up to me and say, oh, don't do too much, you'll burn out. Don't do too much, you'll burn out. Well, I'm still here and they're gone. Meanwhile, Aaron Raw is actually in the back room as well. And Aaron will be with myself and Seth in February. I think it's around Valentine's Day. We're doing an event in Oklahoma. So one thing you can do is grab your lapsed atheist friends in Oklahoma and bring them all out to that sort of thing. There's no secret to it. Some people get involved with these communities and they are hot and heavy. It's something new. It's something that is a huge part of their life. And then other things in life happen and they're going to go away. And so one of the things is to constantly bring new people in. I can tell you this, the Atheist Community of Austin is more active, has more people, and doing more things than ever in its history. that probably is the key. And it's not just because, there's a show and there's people who show up on Sunday for dinner. By the way, we're having pizza today, so any atheist or atheist-friendly person is welcome to come down and join us, 1507 West Koenig Lane. Well, I'm sure Mark will have that up there even before I can finish talking about it. It's not a secret. For me, I have to do this show. This show is my therapy, my meditation. It is probably my favorite thing, or at least one of a handful of favorite things. Like if you said, hey, if you left the show right now, Matt, you could go have sex, I would not leave the show. Because I can have sex when I'm not on the show.
There's something wrong with you, man.
But I recognize I'm different from some people. So when I was, I would say when I was president, but I'm president again. So my standard method for running this organization is I want to be able to say yes to anything anybody wants to do, anything anybody wants to have the ACA do that is within the bounds of our mission, provided the person who comes up and says, hey, can we do this event, is willing to chair the committee to run that event. Because the last thing you need is for people to come up with ideas and give that to the group of people who are going to do all the work.
Overwhelmed already.
Yeah. I don't need more work. I got plenty of work. But it's not. There's not. What's kept you doing it all these years, Don?
Well, for me, the question I asked myself, I'm going to have a finite life here, and what can I do to make an impact? Yep. Is the question in my mind. And this is one thing, if you're blogging or writing or doing something, this is sort of my way of trying to make an impact. And I think that somehow that we are. Let me flip it around, though, and say for a lot of people, once they figure out they're atheists, maybe they don't need to think very much about religion anymore. Maybe they don't need to get involved in the cause of mitigating religious harm. Maybe they just want to go on off and live their lives. And in some ways, the purpose of our group is not to have the group in the long run, right?
We would like to put us out of work.
Right. Ideally, there should never have to be an atheist, right, or a unicornist, or a leprechaunist.
Yeah.
So I think it's normal for some people to drop out and some people to lose interest, especially after they've sort of readjusted their worldview and figured out where they're going in their lives.
Yeah, and a lot of people will see. I know there was a Pew study that came out recently that shows, basically what we've known for years, Christianity and other religions generally are on a decline, and the nuns, the NONEs, the secularists are increasing. And some people would look at that and get complacent. And I'm like, we can do this faster. Like, oh, yeah, we're at 3% self-identified atheists and 26%, nuns. And that's good enough for now. I can go do other stuff. I'm like, I'm already doing other stuff. We can increase the rate to the point where we get to a tipping point where now we don't need to have to fight for separation of religion and government every time we wake up. Maybe we just, hey, here's the church-state separation issue of the month rather than of the day or the hour.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I understand. And, that makes a lot of sense. And, something I was actually thinking about when you were talking, Don, you as well, Matt, is that groups like the ACA or the Atheist Community of Tulsa, for example, could have, they can afford to have the people come and go often, and they'd still have a pretty decent amount of, active member base. Whereas, for example, in my city, it's only 32,000 people here. Mm-hmm. And, I want to try to, I'm under the full expectation that we're never going to have more than maybe 20 active members at a time. And I'm completely okay with that because I look at the limitations with the size of my city. And I want to try to breathe new life back into the atheist group of Bartlesville, which is where I'm from. Yeah. And try to get some more people going. I did notice, though, and this is one thing that I think is a little bit of a contrast to the ACT or ACA, is that people in smaller towns, or at least in my city, it seemed like they wanted to more, gravitate towards just having the social aspect compared to the activism aspect.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I think that being an atheist can be very isolating, especially, if you're steeped in a family that's religious, you might feel like, oh my goodness, I can't be myself. And just having some people you can go talk to and, bitch about the latest thing or talk about something entirely unrelated to atheism and make friends. It's very, very valuable.
It also it's a regional thing too. There's a reason why, and I've been speaking. Well, I've been doing this show for 15 years, so I've been speaking at events and stuff for about 15 years as well. I've never been to Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, basically most of New England I've never been to. And yet I've spoken many times all over the South. Hell, I've spoken more times in L.A. than I have anywhere in New England. Now, if you look at the statistics, the demographics show that religion is not necessarily there are fewer religious people. It's that religion's practiced in New England, and the doctrine there are less impactful to the society and less marginalizing. That's where you get more liberal, leftist. Jesus loves everybody. It doesn't matter if you're gay, and we just want to all get along and donate money to a church so we can come have a potluck and wear our Sunday best on Easter and Christmas. Right. That's very different from what happens in the South. And so where there are more egregious church-state separation violations, where people are more likely to be marginalized and ostracized from their family, there are different needs for that community than there are for.
But Oklahoma's likely in that category, right?
Yeah, Oklahoma counts. I mean, I know you're way north of us, and Austin's way more fucking liberal than Oklahoma. So it's not just like a South thing, but it's like you count as the South. Austin's this little
blue dot,
blue area. Yeah, we let the governor live here because that's where they built his house. Otherwise, he'd have to find a new place.
That's right.
Yeah, and, the one thing so probably the most positive thing I took from us having an atheist community in Bartlesville is I made some fantastic friends there. And everybody who came out to any of the meetings we had, even if we're just going to dinner, they always spoke about how relieved they are and how nice it is to have other people to talk to and other people to vent with.
Yeah.
And
if that's what they need, that's what the group needs to be.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, and a lot of them had children, things like this. So they're like, well, we can't go drinking. And they also have jobs. With a town like this, a lot of people know each other as well.
Sure.
So that they prefer more of like the down low like type interactions and just meeting new people and And I definitely want to get back into that. I just realized a couple months ago that I had basically plateaued with my atheism. And I still see a lot of that stuff around me, such as people, throwing out magical thoughts or really toxic beliefs, linked with religion. And I realized, wow, this is something I definitely want to start picking up again.
Yeah, try a whole bunch of stuff and stick with what sticks.
Yeah, and I just wasn't sure how.
It may be that you personally need a shot in the arm, and maybe you can go attend some of the national conferences, and that's a great way to network and meet people and get very excited about what's going on. You can bring some of that enthusiasm back with you.
Yeah, and see, that's actually one thing I'm excited about because Seth, Matt, and Aaron are going to be in Tulsa February 15th.
Yep.
My birthday is the 16th, so I'm thinking, shit, I might as well go celebrate my birthday and, see you guys.
Send me an email. I'll comp your ticket for your birthday.
All right.
You are a fantastic person. Thank you so much.
Sure.
I figure I could just find your email address on the ACA website.
Yeah, you can do TV at atheist-community.org. I'll see that. You can also do president at atheist-community.org. You can do sans.deity@gmail.com. You can find me on Facebook or whatever. Just drop me a note, and I'll get it to the organizers, and we'll get you one ticket. Now, if you want to bring 10 friends, they got to pay.
Oh, that's not a problem. I would just be like, oh, hey, Matt gave me my ticket for the show for free for my birthday.
Why do you think I give tickets away? It's not because I like you. It's because I'm hoping that you have 10 friends who'll buy tickets after you get a free one so you don't come on your own.
Yeah.
I couldn't possibly be for ethical reasons. I'm in it for this for me.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate it, Nick.
Actually, sorry?
No, I was just saying I appreciate it, and I like to have fun with it.
Yeah. No, it's awesome that you guys have been doing this for so long. I admire you guys a lot, and as well as your patience with the show and the callers you have in, and just being active parts of the community for so many years. And the same with Seth and Aaron. Seth is a very awesome dude, and Aaron seems like he is as well. And hopefully I'll get to meet you guys in February.
You have to stop saying Aaron's name, because literally he's in the back room, and if you say his name like 2 more times, he's going to magically appear right here.
Yeah, you're going to kick me out of my seat.
All right. Well,
thank you, Nick.
I'll try to help out, Don. Thank you. You guys have a great day.
Thanks, Nick.
Bye-bye. Before we move on to the callers, I wanted to make draw some attention to these awesome candles that got made, and they're the votive candles, and that's me on the damn candle, and this is Matt.
And they are damn candles.
There he is. This is more of a cartoonish Matt, and the other one's more of a picture of me.
Yeah, I'm more cartoonish than you in general.
Pretty damn awesome.
Even in real life, I'm more cartoonish than you.
All right.